I get it when a friend asks if they should drop a few $100 on a professional-grade video conference kit. The first thing they hear in my head is, do I really need that? I've been there, sitting at my kitchen table, trying to make a client presentation look decent on a shaky laptop webcam, and wondering if the money would be better spent on a better internet plan or maybe a nicer chair. The idea of a full-room system feels like a gamble. You could end up with a glossy box that looks cool, but never really moves the needle in your day-to-day calls. If you're on the fence, the link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this video, I'm going to walk through exactly what the Logitech Rally Plus brings to the table, where it shines, and why it might still be a miss for some setups. First, let's talk about the category itself. A video conference equipment bundle isn't just a fancy webcam. It's a collection of camera, audio, and control components meant to turn a regular meeting room into a virtual boardroom. The biggest promise you hear from manufacturers is studio-quality video, and that's the headline feature here. In practice, that means you're getting a camera that can track people, adjust to lighting changes, and deliver a picture that feels less like you're on a grainy live stream and more like you're in a small TV studio. That's a real upgrade over the 720p or basic 1080p webcams that come built into laptops. Now, the real question is, does that upgrade matter for you? If you run a small design studio and your team of 4 meets on Zoom a few times a week, the answer is probably no. A decent laptop webcam, maybe a USB mic, and a stable internet connection will get the job done. But if you're coordinating a product launch with stakeholders spread across 3 continents, need to show prototypes on screen, and want everyone in the room to look like they're sitting right across from each other, the visual fidelity of a system like Rally makes a noticeable difference. The camera's ability to keep the whole table in frame, even when people shift around, cuts down on the where did they go moments that happen when the lens is stuck on a single spot. Setting it up is where the rubber meets the road. The Rally Plus comes with a motorized PTZ pan-tilt-zoom camera that you mount on a ceiling or place on a sturdy tripod. The motorized part is great because you can adjust the field of view with a click on the remote, but it also adds a layer of complexity. You need to find a spot where the camera can see everyone, run power and HDMI cables to a nearby PC or laptop, and make sure the remote is within reach. For someone who's never wired a conference room, the initial installation can feel like a mini DIY project. On the flip side, once you've got the camera perched in the right place and the cables tucked neatly, the day-to-day operation is almost invisible. The remote control lets you switch between wide and close-up shots without touching the computer, which is a subtle but huge convenience during live meetings. Audio is another piece of the puzzle that often trips people up. Rally Plus bundles 2 mic pods that sit on the table and capture voices from across the room. In a well-balanced space with a moderate amount of ambient noise, those mics do a solid job of picking up each speaker clearly, which makes the studio quality claim feel genuine. However, they're not magic. If your meeting room is echoey, has a lot of background chatter, or you tend to move around a lot, you'll notice the microphone's picking up some of that noise. In those scenarios, you might need to add acoustic panels or consider a dedicated boundary mic solution. The point is, the audio works well out of the box for typical boardrooms, but it isn't a one-size-fits-all answer for every acoustic environment. Another practical consideration is software compatibility. Rally is designed to work seamlessly with the big players Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, you name it. When you launch a meeting, the camera and mic show up as a single Logitech Rally device, which means you don't have to juggle multiple audio sources or worry about the camera lagging behind the audio. I tested it with both Zoom and Teams, and the switch between the 2 platforms was painless. The only hiccup I ran into was that some older conferencing software required a quick driver update, so a brief check for the latest firmware before you roll it out is a good habit. Now, let's talk dollars and cents. Rally Plus sits in a premium price bracket. It's not the kind of thing you buy on impulse. The value you get is the sum of a high-quality camera, 2 microphones, a remote, and a sturdy mounting kit, all of which you could theoretically piece together from separate components, but at a higher total cost and with more headaches. If you compare that to buying a single 4K webcam,